everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Music Podcast, where today, a very special edition of the Dr. Music Podcast, I have Sons of Silver with me. I have Pete Argyropoulos, Kevin Haaland, Adam Kury. They're all here, ready to talk about what they got going on. It's quite a bit. Sons of Silver has had two EPs of music that have secured 3 spots on the Billboard chart. Collectively amassed 9 million views and streams. That's impressive. They have just released their new single, Tell Me This, and they are prepared to unleash Runaway Emotions, their first full-length record, and that's exciting stuff. We're going to talk about that. I'm so glad to have you guys, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah,
It's great to be here, Scott. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love the shirt, too. You know, one of my favorites.
This
Yes.
one here? Yeah, I like this one. This is a relatively new find.
Yeah, awesome,
So,
man. Awesome.
yeah.
Now, I'm sitting here, just outside of Chicago, so it's
Oh,
close to my
yeah.
heart.
yeah. I was about to say. Well, it was what happened was I was watching a Rick Nielsen interview or something like that, and I was like, I got to go out and support these guys. So I bought a couple records, bought the T-shirt, and I'm a fan too.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I just talked to Tom Werman too, so that was exciting. He
Cool.
produced those early records, and
Yeah.
they live and breathe with me still. So they're pretty
So
cool.
good.
Um, I try to tell people about Sons of Silver, and of course, the first question without hearing the band, what do they sound like? That's obviously an obvious first question. And I think I listen to it, and each time I get, I can describe it differently each time. And that's the cool thing about the band. For me, one of the great things about this band is it's different every time I hear it. Kind of. I don't know why that is. And it's always what was that?
Is it drugs?
No, not
Wait,
now.
us or him?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But it's exciting. It's a great journey every single time, man. But from you guys, how would you guys describe the band?
Oh, we'll let Kevin lead that one off.
Yeah, you haven't done many interviews. It's up to you now.
it's my turn. I don't know. Like I would just say kind of what I always say. I think this music is just kind of what happens when we play together. There's not really any preconceived, it should be like this, it should be like that, at least at first. We just kind of start playing and stuff happens, and then we'll get that way after that. Well, we'll refine and but really it's just kind of what happens, for better or worse.
I would say look, I have to be the point person on a lot of this stuff in the business end of things, and generally I say it's rock and roll. People say what kind of music, and I'll say it's a rock band, but really more rock and roll. We're not super heavy, but we're not super light. We borrow from the past, a fair amount, but we also borrow from the present and even the future a bit. So it's got a blend of things, but it is definitively a rock or rock and roll sound. And you could, and one of the other ways I'll describe it is I'll say, look, we would do well opening for, let's say Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers if they were still around, but we do well opening for Stone Temple Pilots.
Right.
Probably wouldn't do well opening for Pantera, not to knock Pantera, but it's so that would be past our limit there. So in that range of, those other.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, but I get that, and I listen to everything. I just had a French jazz singer on, a couple of days ago. Just gorgeous stuff, and I'm just musical. I love good music. But you guys touch many bases, and that's what I mean. It's a cool thing. I get more than just one. Simple. I was going to say One Direction. I get, more than just one simple sound. Which like an AC/DC, that's cool. Big fan, obviously.
So cool.
Uh, but it's, they've done the same record, how many times, and
Right.
that's okay. That's what we want from them. But yeah, you're giving me something a little bit different. It's tasty each time. Each song is, a little bit different taste, and I like that. That's cool. Uh,
Thank you.
is that the intent when you guys go in? Does it just happen, or is there some intent to it to where you want to stay inside of a certain Sons of Silver box?
Yeah, I think the intent's on the back end of it. I think when we're creating
Yeah.
something, writing something, we're not thinking of that at all. But I think when we get to the end of it, there's certain times we've had songs where like, this is really cool, but this doesn't really fit us or this group of songs more than likely.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think we're really trying to do that. I think we're just listening for things that excite us, and because we're all the same people each time, our tastes are all the same. We all have some overlap in our individual stuff, and yeah, it's just whatever comes out. We try to mine the good stuff, collect the good stuff, and let's run with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to add to that, first of all, that was well put as far as we really sort through things more on the back end. We're not really thinking of what we want to do for the most part. And relative to what Kevin said earlier, that we just kind of get in there and do our thing, and the chemistry takes over from there, and we have a lot of overlap, but we all have our own areas of taste and the way in which we do things that's unique to each of us. So bringing that together just lends itself to what you get as the final product.
Yeah.
And even on this album, we have a song that's a piano song. It's called Friends, and we've been kicking that one around for some time. And it was, first like a hard rock version of a song, and then it became more of an Americana thing. And we really wanted to get it on the album because we liked the lyrical sentiment, but it just wasn't fitting. And even when we were having some brief or small, I should say, listening sessions with a couple other folks in our team, our promotions team, they were like, it's a good song, but it doesn't fit. And Kevin came up with the idea of just turning it into a piano ballad, very straightforward one at that, and it worked out well. So it really, as Adam said, it's on the back end, how it all comes together. And in the meantime, we just do our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the common thread is just us and how we play, how Pete sings, the sound of his voice, what we come in with. But I think when we're choosing the songs and we're finding them, the one thing we keep coming back to is we tend to like get excited about songs where we're working it up. We're not going to work up anything we don't like, first off, but it's fun when we go, oh, we don't have one of these. So
Right.
we're looking for
Yeah.
songs that we're going to make them be our own, but we're looking for things. We don't want to be repetitive yet. I mean, like I say, I'm a huge AC/DC fan. They're one of the few bands that can get away with that. And
Yep.
you'd be pissed if they changed it. You'd be
Right.
actually furious if they did.
Mhm.
We're a little bit different in that our commonality is not so much the songwriting as it is just the style that each of us brings.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That's exactly how I feel, on the outside looking in is yeah, just that. I getting something different at each time out. But it's all Sons of Silver, which is extremely difficult to do. It's really cool. Now, I look at the history you guys got, and you've all been in the business for a long time. You know what's going on. You know what you need to do. You're focused. All adults, most of the time, anyway, right?
Most of the
Uh,
time.
Doing our best.
but it's kind of like a super group. I hate that word, kind of, but you guys have played together before, like Kevin and Adam played together with Candlebox, correct?
I was never in Candlebox. I did
Right,
play
a
on
session.
Wolves,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so on recording, yeah.
So that you have that, and then there's the Skillet background for Kevin. You know, it's just these so many things going into this melting pot. It's really the influences I hear a lot of times are like an early '90s pop influence.
Mm.
I get a Bob Mould feel.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Sugar, stuff like that. It reminded me a little bit, and Tonic maybe. But
Mhm.
there's also that Ramones style of angst. But it's delivered with that tone, that Lou Reed-ish kind of tone, which is really unique. Where do all your influences, do the influences that you have, Adam, you say, big AC/DC fan. I don't hear any of that, but, you know, um, your influences, do you feel those influences coming through, some of those influences coming through in your writing?
Hmm. You
I
know,
do in veiled ways, I think, you know. But go ahead, Pete.
oh, no, you go, Kev.
That was really it. I think yeah, but um not too overtly, I guess. But not by design. I don't know. I don't
I think they get watered down a bit in the sense that
know.
that's a good question. I mean,
It is.
it's a tough one to answer directly. Look, we have a lot of overlap. For instance, if you look at, our bios on different websites and the likes of that, you'll see Radiohead on there as a common band. In particular the Bends or OK Computer as the primary influential albums. You'll see Led Zeppelin. You'll see U2. But you really, aside from Radiohead, you really, and a bit of Zeppelin, you don't really hear those directly that much in our stuff at all. And I think part of that has to do with the limitations vocally with me. I mean, I have a very deep voice, so that's not going to allow us to do some of that high, wilder stuff that you might hear from some of those acts a bit. And then also, we have other areas of interest, that outside that. Kevin, for instance, Adam's a big Black Sabbath fan. I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Kev, you love the Verve, and then there's Mark who has his interests. Brina, hers. Actually, she's probably into the hardest stuff of all of us, like bands like Fugazi and things like that.
Mhm.
And so that kind of waters down what you might hear if let's say if we were all just huge Radiohead fans and
Right.
then you hear that all over the place what we're doing. So that doesn't happen between those two things, two
Yeah.
Yeah,
elements.
like hypothetically, if I pitched a very Radioheady riff, Pete's gonna bring the Clash to it immediately, or something else really different, or Adam's gonna bring a John Paul Jonesy bass line, or just something that's different than what it started as, you know?
Right. And again, that's what you guys do. It's a lot of different things are going into this, and hence the variety in sound when it comes out, when the finished product is there. Great stuff. Really cool. Tell me this. New single. Uh, I heard the riff was hanging around for a while. You kicked it around, couldn't get it to work, came back to it later, that kind of thing. Tell me, does this, in the writing process, is it, are you more satisfied with something like that you work with for a long time and nurture and try to, massage it into something and then you finally get it? Uh, or is it, like the thing you spend 15 minutes on and it kicks ass and it's exactly what you wanted from the very start? Is there one that appeals to you more as a songwriter? Are you more proud of the one that you had and really had to work at?
You mean are we more proud of the ones that we had to, stab ourselves in the eye 500 times with a pencil, or
I'll
do we?
take the easy ones.
No.
That's
Well,
more fun, right?
yeah, exactly. No, yeah, first of all, we actually rarely ever do we beat ourselves up. So even in the tales, the true stories of this song tell me this that we had to put it on the back burner a couple times. That doesn't mean we beat ourselves up. It means we didn't want to beat ourselves up. Spend an hour or two on it, a few hours here, over a couple days, and then we're like, nah, it's not quite there, and let's shelve it. And then one of us, usually me, will pick it up and work a little bit more on the side and say, here's a different way to approach it, and we'll all take it from there. And then that's how it happens. So we rarely beat ourselves up, honestly, because we know we'll come up with other stuff, and also because it's just not fun.
And that's cool. I mean, that's a great confidence thing, to know that, you got guys that somebody's going to come up with something. Not everybody has that.
Well, the other thing too is I think we know that we all have really great first instincts. So if you belabor something too long, then you start thinking about it, and then your ideas aren't coming naturally. Sometimes you come up with good stuff working out like that, but usually you set it down, you come back a few weeks later, and listen with fresh ears, and your first couple of instincts either it works that day, or you put it back down and you come back another day. So we don't beat it up. It's more like pick it up. Is this working? If not, we set it down and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, 100%. And
Cool.
I'll say adding to that one, like generally, most of our songs is, some folks may know, we talked about it before, come from jams. So, or at least the first inspiration, and that's not just musically, also lyrically. The main lyrics, or at least key cornerstone lyrics will come then. And that usually happens when we're maybe taking a detour from something that we're beating our heads up against the wall on, just take a little break and jam on something. And it also comes in when someone in the band brings a bit of a riff. It could be any type of thing that just gets us going. I call it kindling. And so within that, we just generally don't like to belabor things, and we move fast. I've found that I'll call out a lot of changes, and then Kevin and Adam will respond with changes, and then Adam, I found in part of the routine lots of times, is the one who sort of in the moment pieces it all together. It's like, we have this part here and this part here. How about we flip them, make the verse the chorus, the chorus the verse, and we put this little bit in between, and boom, and then we'll take it and work with it, individually from there. So again, we don't like to beat stuff up because it's just not fun.
And what you just described sounds fun as hell, I gotta tell you.
That is fun. Yeah.
It is. Sadly, we don't get to do it enough because we're doing a lot of the business end of things.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, also on the high end of things, we don't do it all that often because we don't have time to finish all these songs. We're very fortunate that when we get together and kick around for a day, we'll come out with 2 or 3 songs that usually we can finish. It's just that it takes time to, refine parts and lyrics and get the right take on it, and then you got to mix it. So we can write them faster than we can finish them.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. But Kevin, part of Skillet back in the day, Adam, part of Candlebox. These are bands that have a strong main figure, songwriter, really,
Yeah.
a key guy. And
Yeah.
Pete, you would have been that guy before this band, really, having it, that the Pete RG, you're the guy. And in Candlebox,
Let's be clear here. I am still the guy.
but
Son comes to the bedroom every morning and he tells me I'm still the guy. Still the guy, Papa.
but you're
Well
so
played, Chris.
kind to share some of the responsibility. It's so nice of you. But John Cooper wasn't that guy to share the responsibilities. I don't think. He's the guy.
He's the guy, for sure.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Martin, kind of the same thing in Candlebox, if I'm not mistaken. He's Candlebox. That strong figure where if he says it's not good for him, it's not good for the band. Which it works for them. You guys have some input here. You're working together. It's a different band situation for you guys, correct?
For me, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. That's got to feel good. You're getting some of your input in there. It's a whole different situation. That's what it's what you were looking for as a musician, correct? I mean,
Yeah, I
Kevin
think so. I mean,
Mhm.
I think the big thing is, and usually when you have a key person, it's usually a singer, because one thing I truly believe is that if a singer doesn't believe what he's singing, forget it. You have to do it. So I'm very hesitant to write lyrics for somebody else. So
Yeah.
what we usually do is we'll maybe give opinions. Peter will write stuff, but it's like, yeah, we're digging this. This is really cool. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't believe what he's singing, it's not going to be a great performance. So I
Mhm.
think more than it's a single person doing something, is we kind of all police our own areas. The difference is if Kevin's playing guitar stuff that he hates, he's not going to dig the song. So he's going to go, I'm going to work on this to come up with my part. And we
Yeah.
each settle into things that we love. So when we're done with the song, we've all done something where we're like, I dig what I'm doing. I dig what the song's doing. and the group as a whole can be proud of it versus just one person going, hey, I dig this.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll even say add to that with the lyrics that if if there was a sense in me that everyone didn't like some of the lyrics or a line or whatever it is, just something along those lines, I would just ditch it or I'd ditch the song. Nothing's that precious, and I wouldn't want to. I don't want to go out there and be in the front of the band and know that my not only my bandmates but my dearest friends are just not really into it. Something rubs them wrong. So, but the reality is that we generally fall, pretty much on the same page pretty smoothly, and I think that's why it works for us, because in the sense that it's the collectiveness of the writing, because any one of us could go write and produce a bunch of songs ourselves and do a very good job of it, and we've done that, but. It's just there's something about working with a team and sharing that it's, if anything else, it's just a lot more rewarding. And a while back, not too long ago, I was reading an interview with Keith Richards, and he was talking about how one of his favorite things with the Stones was to bring in what he would call a seed of a song, not the complete song. He's like, yeah, I could write the whole thing, but I wouldn't want to do that. I just want to bring in a piece, something to get us started. And he goes, and then just plant that seed with the band and see where we go, what it would grow into. And the same applies here. I honest to God, I know I'm speaking for everyone else too. I don't finish anything. Now it's just a matter of collecting ideas in various forms and bringing them in one by one to everyone. And as they're doing with the rest of us, each of us is doing with the rest of us, and seeing where they go. And sometimes there's a lot of a meshing of ideas, and it's just fun. It's a really cool. So I go back to fun. I think this interview is about fun.
Yeah, that's great.
And to your point, like you're saying, the band has a unique sound. Any of us could write and record and produce something all on our own, but it would never sound like this.
No.
And the whole point of having all of us work together, I mean, even with the Pete RG thing, Pete was the primary writer, and we started out just coming in, backing up his stuff. It still sounded cool. And because of his voice, you have a common thread. But what we're doing now doesn't sound like the old stuff because it's the influence of all of us. And if you like that influence, if you like what's coming out, then that's the formula you follow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a recipe. It's you cooking up a nice dish. Everybody adds a certain spice to it, and it's that's the way it comes out. Yeah, it's really cool. So everybody was good with "Do you recognize my ass on your lips" lyric, right?
Actually, they were the ones.
Peter was the hardest to convince.
Yeah, I was the one. That's going a little too far. It's kind of crass, and I don't. Now looking back, I don't know what I was thinking. It was like it's just so obvious you use it, but yeah, they had to push me along. Kevin and Brina in particular.
Well, I dig it. I dig it. It's cool, no doubt. When you're writing, for each of you guys, do you prefer a certain place or a certain time of day? Songwriting is fascinating because you're getting something. Good songwriter will touch on a certain thing each time out, kind of. Is there a certain place you go? Is a certain room in the house, or can you just get on a train and sit down and write a song? Is it something, I would imagine each songwriter is a little bit different. When are you most inspired? Is it at night? Is it during the day? Is it when you're busy? When you're, in your downtime? For each of you, when's your most productive time and place?
Well, I'll just start off on that. For lyrics, earlier in the day, even just rolling out of bed tends to be the best. And for the other types of composition, I would say during the day, afternoons, really piecing the music together is generally better. And at night, little ideas will pop out that I bookmark, or that's when I'll take some time and really try to fine tune something or break down a barrier on a song, and then let that simmer when I go to sleep in the back of my head, and generally I'll wake up in the morning and have solved that problem to some degree. Sometimes solving it by saying this is not going to work. That's my routine, and I don't like to eat a lot. I like to stay somewhat hungry because I find if I eat, I'm seriously, if I eat too much, that I get a little lethargic and, not
Yeah.
food coma wise, but just, so.
That's my life goal.
Yeah. For you guys, is it a similar process, Kevin and Adam?
I mean, for me, I guess there's a couple. If it's just me coming up with stuff by myself, that's probably going to be midnight to 3 a.m. somewhere in
Okay.
there. As far as the music that the band's written together, I'm pretty sure that everything has either been written on a stage during sound check or in the studio that we use.
Awesome.
I mean, the vast majority of it
During the day too, we
during the
rarely,
day. Yeah,
rarely work past 7. I mean, 8 would be extremely late for us.
yeah,
Wow.
like noon to 7, something like
Yeah.
that.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say for band stuff, noon to 6 or 7 is the jam. For just individual creativity, you never know. I mean, I've had things I've been working on where I've woken up at 3 a.m. with suddenly, oh, I've got the idea for this, and I have to rush and do something. But it can happen anytime. It's just at home, I really don't work on a lot of stuff because I like coming in fresh with nothing, and we come up with stuff right then and there. That to me,
Right.
that's the excitement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That not to prepare.
that's awesome. You guys get together a lot and jam and write and figure stuff out together in the same room. Wow.
Mhm.
Uh,
Who'd have
that's not
thought?
a thing anymore. Wait a minute.
We make
Uh,
sure everyone bathes.
it, it really should be though, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I
It's
encourage
pretty
people to try it out.
it's pretty wild. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, we've had this type of conversation, and someone, as yourself will be like, "Wow, so you guys actually get together and do all this stuff together?" And at first, I remember, I think there was an interview that we were all on, or at least a couple of us, and we were like, "Wait, you mean you're getting a lot of artists who don't work together?" And they're saying a lot, almost all of them. They're sending files back and forth, and I'm like, "That's insane." I said,
Yeah.
how do you get a spirit? How do you get an emotion collectively? How do you just get in the moment and
Yeah.
let the moment just take you out of your head and into your subconscious and just go. I don't know how you do that. And
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But we're
I,
we're very lucky that the temperament of everyone in the band because I'm very aware that we're fortunate that we can all work together like that. There's no ego involved. There's no, hey,
right.
this is my idea that I want to get through. It's really very much the ideas are completely their own. They're separated from us. We throw it out. If somebody gets sparked, you run with it. You don't care whose it was. So I think that's very liberating. I do recognize that's tough to do, but I will say, at least for me, in any band that I get into that I'm really going to be into, and this one worked out like gangbusters. That is the design, is to have a group of people that can work like that. Because if you can't, then you're breaking up and you're writing singularly at home. And sometimes it works. I mean, if that's the sound that you're doing, but we developed something because we all work together that we would never have developed on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the Sons of Silver sound. Uh, the name Sons of Silver. I know, and Pete knows, of course. You guys know where the name comes from. Kevin, Adam.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Did you have to ask how to, because I do my homework, I figured it out, and I'm like, that's really cool because I got, a shitty name. I have a suffix for a name, so, Itter is my last name. So
what's the origin of Itter or the ethnicity? Do you
I
know?
believe there's a castle in Austria, so it is,
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
European there. So yeah, and I guess there was a famous battle there. So it's a big name over there. Over here, not so much. But
But don't minimize it. You just need to grow your Austrian audience.
there you go. I- that's a great point. I look at your Spotify profile, and in the end, in the bottom there, where the description of the band is, it has the top 5 places of people streaming your music.
Hmm.
Have you looked at that?
I have not.
Yeah, I pretty much several times a day. Homework is
It
a requirement now.
it blows my mind. Here's the top 5. Okay.
Well, let me ask this. I'm looking on the back end, so you tell me what you see on the front end. I look on the the
Right.
number.
Well, I've checked it a few times, and this is about right. Santiago, Chile, always first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, cities. Yes, Santiago has
Yeah.
been duking it out with Helsinki for the last month. Interestingly.
Right. Mexico City takes the second spot. Paris, Sao
Hmm.
Paulo, and
Yeah.
Lima, Peru. Uh,
Yes.
Cool.
When do we
Helsinki's been on
go?
there. What was that, Em?
I said, when do we go?
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to
right,
go to all
right.
those places.
We actually, interestingly, our largest overall fan base is the U.S., but there are only two cities in the top 40 or 50 in the U.S. I think it's the top 50. It's Chicago and Houston, and they're way down at the bottom, like the bottom 10.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's interesting though. It's fun to see that too. I
it
mean,
it is.
to add to that too, also, like we're not doing any promotions. Well, with this week, we just started working with a promotions company, a PR company for Europe, but we're not doing anything in Eastern Europe whatsoever. And we have a lot of listeners in Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, or I'm sorry, Czech Republic, and the likes of that. And I'm not sure how it happens, but it's cool, and we look forward to being able to get over those countries and play.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I was going to ask, is that's surprising to you? Because it's surprising to me. And I do see Chicago on so many bands, which is great, man. It's a musical city here.
Great city.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
people are debatable, but the city is great.
yeah.
Oh boy, that's going to come
Uh,
back on you.
Hey,
Yeah, totally.
my family's from Chicago, so in fact, we were just there for Thanksgiving, my wife and son and I. So
cool, cool, awesome. Yeah, I hear your son's gonna join the band next year when
Oh,
he's
he's
five,
already in.
right?
Looking like it.
Five?
he literally tells people he's in the band. He said, "I have a band." If he's not Bono one day, he pretends
Yeah, I
to
was
be
going
Bono.
to say, don't get your ego too stroked. He also tells people he's in you too. So
Right,
Yeah.
totally.
That
That's
one does seem to grab more attention, I must admit.
that's awesome, man. I mean, that is too cool. You raising them right, raising them right.
Right.
Let's talk about the video. Uh, People need to see the video. It's really cool. It's really unique. Um, I was reminded of OK Go, the really unique videos that they do, that band. Um, Really different, really thought provoking, really, something goes into them. Really a lot of thought went into this one. Obviously, do you see yourself? Did you enjoy it? Do you see yourself doing more video?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
I would just say, yeah, I think it's been fun, and I would totally be into doing more if people like watching them, you know?
Yeah,
We have two more in the can right now. We just finished
cool.
a video for our next single, and we're actually just wrapping up the video for the third single, and we'll be actually, as we're talking here, a note passed on my screen, an email from one of our videographers about the fourth single. So, prepping to shoot that. So yeah, so we have them in, and it was I had fun. I think we all had fun. It was like the first shooting. Tell me this. We shot it in December. It was a long day. It was a good 12-hour day. It was especially long for our drummer Mark Slutsky, who had to get there first and start shooting. The rest of us rolled in a couple hours later. But to the credit of our director and producer David Wolfgang, the concept was entirely his. Uh,
Mhm.
he's the husband to Brina's best friend, and he's been in the TV industry or film industry for quite a while, and he's wanted to work with us for a while. We just weren't able to line up our schedules. He came to me with the idea. I threw it at the band. Everyone thought it was great. We just showed up and did what he told us to do. And if you've seen a couple of the behind the scenes clips that we've thrown up, I think we put one up with Kevin the other day. David is just behind the camera with his crew, is shouting out, "Go Kevin" or "Go Peter," "Go Adam,"
Right.
and lots of that, and "Give me more of this, give me more of that," and we just followed his direction, and it was also brave on his part because, he had to hope that he could put something together that would please us, and we were obviously very happy, and we want to give him all the credit as well as his co-producer and editor, Sal Scalafani. They did a great
Cool.
job. And our our video, we have another video we're actually that I was mentioning earlier that we're finishing up with them right now.
Awesome. Man, that's cool. That is way cool. Runaway Emotions. These are songs going to be on the record. It's a full length record, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And official release date? I haven't heard one. Is there one?
No.
Well, hell.
No, it'll come out. You know, Adam and I were talking about this yesterday. Uh, you know, we're having basically it's a different world. We all know it's a different world. It's a much more singles based world, but there is still a very important place for full length releases, and it seems to be there's a growing thirst for that, or you know, a rebirth of that. So the album's done. It's just waiting. We're just really rolling with the rollout of singles to gauge when we will release the album, and that has a lot to do with when we actually finalize touring more than anything. So we're still penciling in dates, going back and forth with other artists to open for, and once we get that all squared away, we'll probably announce a release date. And I'm guessing sometime, you know, mid to late summer. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep rolling out singles.
Ah, that's great. That's awesome. So we'll get three or four. What do you got for the album? How many tracks will we have on the album?
10 songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, excellent.
About 40 minutes, 42 minutes.
Great. Great.
Yeah, and the album's all done. It's
Yeah.
it's just sitting there waiting. So like I said, we're timing it out, doing some of these single releases and kind of waiting for time. I mean, one of the things too is if we're not on the road, dropping the whole record, you know, doesn't really help us out all that much. And we can keep people engaged by dropping, you know, a single and a video for the song, and maybe a behind the scenes, and maybe a lyric video, and then the next month do the same thing again. You keep people engaged and coming back. And so when the album finally does drop, you know, you've already brought people in, and then we time that with a tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It's great, man. And you know, I think there is a demand. You know, it is a singles world for sure. This is the way it's done now. You know, release a single, release a single, release about four, and then you know throw that album out there, and nothing really gets lost that way. I think. You know, you throw an album of 10 or 12 songs with you know, only one single. You know,
Blows right by people.
yeah, 8 or 9 of those songs are going to get lost probably.
Yeah, even for myself, it happens. And I'll say this, you know, I have Breen and I have a 3-year-old, and he loves getting up in the morning, and he flips on the turntable, puts an album on, and he loves to do it. He does it all himself. We've even gotten him now where he will flip the side. So he's like, "Papa, do it for me." I'm like, "You can do it." And I walked him through it, and he flips the album over, you know, and he loves it. And I said, "Well, do you want to listen to just some songs on our Sonos system?" He goes, "No, I want to listen to the album. I want to listen to the vinyl."
Yeah.
And I've mentioned that to other friends, you know, have young kids, and they're like, "Yeah, it's the same here." So I think there's a ritual to it. There's a deeper engagement because you're getting more involved in it. And also, frankly, he loves looking at the artwork, the big pieces of vinyl. So that's cool. And you know, but they all work together. They all help each other out. The digital versions, you know, the digital ways of listening, and you know, the more traditional ways.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I grew up in those traditional ways, and you know, I have an appreciation for that. You know, sitting down, it was an event. You know, you had to take the time,
Yeah.
which you know, it deserves the time. Music deserves the time. For me, it's a respect thing for what you guys do, and you know, sit down and be with the music, be in the moment. And I think more people are getting to that. Looking at the artwork, I still get a kick out of it. You know, I pull one of these out, I look at the artwork, I read the lyrics and, you know, the liner notes and the thank yous, and it's, you know, I'm in a place. And I need to go to that place more often, you know, with this crazy life we all lead. It's nice to go to that place and sit down with your music. And I think more people are getting to that point.
I think so, and if I may add, we have a really good artist we're working with right now, Alex Tenta, who did the single "Tell Me This," who did our upcoming couple singles and you know, and as well as what we're working on. We have an album idea, but we have an album cover finished, but I'm just pushing for some alternatives with them. But anyway, you know, one of the things that we consider when we're doing this, like, let's not just design this simply for those little piece, you know, little squares that are on Spotify and Apple Music, Amazon, and the likes of that. Let's design them that they're good as 12 inches or even 10, 7 inches.
Right.
And because there's something very satisfying about that when you do see it, and even to do it is there's something very proud about it, and you know that someone may take this and blow it up on their screen or however they're going to use it. And likewise, you know, I think when you spend the time listening to something on vinyl or really read the liner notes and the likes of that, you're investing yourself. And anytime someone invests himself in something, and whatever is we may do, you know, invest yourself in watering your plants, invest yourself in, you know, I don't know, cleaning, you know, your front yard, whatever it might be. It means more to you. You take a deeper appreciation of that particular investment you've made. And so I think it's the same for anything in this world where it's great to get exposed to so many things as we can with digital media and our phones and the likes of that, but it also can be very fleeting. So the ability then to take greater ownership of whatever it is that you like and reel yourself into it, not only does it help the artist, but it helps you too. It grounds you and it creates something you can have a little bit longer. So, you know. That was very philosophical on my part. I don't know what came.
I love it, man. It's perfect. Makes perfect sense. I'm on board with it. You know, I'm an old guy, but I'm on board with it. Maybe that's why I am on board with it. Sequencing the album had to be fun then. You know, I mean, it's part of the whole package, right?
No,
It's not fun.
Well,
to be honest, we still don't have okay, we do have a final sequence, which Brina has, which she and our mastering engineer were very satisfied with. I have yet to hear it. I'm pretty certain, unless she sent it to you guys, that anyone else has yet to hear it. And she keeps beating me up actually to give it a listen and to send it to you guys. But I'm like, you know what? It's not urgent right now because we can finish that all in a day or two, and we have other more pressing things. So I'm avoiding it.
Well, see, I love the fact that you're giving it thought, that it is an issue, because, you know, for a lot now, it's not really considered an issue because
Right.
people aren't a lot of times releasing things as a piece of work. It is singles, and it really doesn't matter because they're going to get each one separately. So you are thinking about that journey, you know, from dropping the needle at the beginning and having it flow to the end. That's a thing. You know, it is a journey. It's an adventure. So bravo for thinking about it, even though it is a pain in the ass.
I would have to say it's probably one of the most miserable things for me to be on now. I really love almost every aspect of writing, recording, releasing, promoting, playing. You know, I love all of it. I think I speak for everyone else, and that we're all the same. But you know, we each have maybe one little area that we really don't like, and I would say sequencing is near, if not at the top of the list.
I love it.
The problem with sequencing, like I don't mind doing sequencing, but you send just the band members, send 5 people out the 10 songs, and they're going to come back with 5 different ideas of how to do it. And everyone has a different chain of thought, some people want it to flow lyrically. I like it to flow from the end of one song, the feeling that it gives you, into the what do I want to hear next, the beginning. But then sometimes people are just going strictly, what's the energy flow of the thing? Or, hey, this is kind of like the star of the show, our big single, if you have one like that. So where do we put it? Do we put it near the front? Do you save it? So everyone's got a different idea. That's why it gets frustrating, because they're all valid ideas. It's just, what do you run with?
And they confuse each other. It's the same for set lists too. In fact, I'll say this: I've noticed over time that my set list ideas pretty much universally get shot down. You know, even when we did our Vegas show a couple weeks ago, I was like, no, this is what we should do. These are the songs we should. And you guys looked at me like, no. And Brina Brina threw one forward, and everyone was like, "That's great." I'm like, "That's terrible. That's terrible. Try it, Peter. It's terrible. Let's just try it." You know, it's not so bad. Okay. So I just honestly back to the band thing again. You know, it's great to have, you know, bandmates who you really have faith in, who you not even just faith, it's just like you go, you guys run with it. I don't want to do everything. I don't need to do everything.
Yeah.
Right. You got Hesitate on the set list for sure, right? I mean, you got to have
We
Hesitate.
haven't played a full show in a while.
Yeah.
we
But it
played-
will be
Been like
for sure.
5-song shows. So no, we haven't played it in a while.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That
It'll
one,
be on though.
it slays me, man. Remember, when you come to Chicago, you got to have Hesitate on the set list. I love all the other
Deal.
stuff too. That song just slays me every time, man. I don't know. There's something about it, man. It's just,
Thank
That's
you.
cool.
It's
Thank
killer.
you.
That is the epitome of a Sons of Silver song because it was genuinely a jam in every aspect. The music, the lyrics, almost all the lyrics were written while we were jamming it, and those that weren't were done immediately after the band, you know, after we wrapped for the night. And I just said, you know, I'm going to stay in the moment and finish these lyrics. So that really is kind of the epitome of a song we wrote on the spot, but it wasn't that it just came out of nowhere. Those feelings, those emotions were pent up. They were things that we were all bantering, ranting about, discussing for days, and we just happened to catch a moment and run with it, and you got what you got.
It's cool, and there's a ton of lyrics. It's just it's a wordy song, but it's just got that steady rhythm that just keeps pounding away, and it's just it's spitting out those words in that rhythm. It's just got a great cadence that drives me every single time.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
fantastic. Um, you tour. You're trying to get some dates together. You're gonna come out, and what's it look like? What's the touring situation look like right now?
We're penciled in for a lot of stuff, and we're going back with different artists every day. I mean, if not multiple times a day, and just trying to nail things down that are suitable for us. Because we get offers for things that maybe aren't the best,
The Slayer tour.
Oh, there was one that came up today that they're like, "Hey, do you want to go out with these guys?" And I was like, "I'm like, I know we're all open to anything." I said, "I just don't see how that would work." And so it was this general feeling was the same. So it's just waiting for the right one and giving our music time, our new album time to really get out there. We haven't been able to go on the road since the lockdowns, and this is really the first year when we can go out and support our stuff. So we need to be, diligent about getting out there, but we also have to wait for the right opportunities because, once we go, that's the message we're going to send not only to fans but also to the industry of where we sit, the artists we sit with, but it's all shaping up well. I mean, we may announce something tomorrow. We may announce in a week, or it could be a month and a half from now. But we'll be on the road.
Man, that's great. Great news, man. Sonsofsilver.com, Runaway Emotions coming, more videos coming, singles coming. All of it's happening, man. It's great. You guys, it's been a blast, man. It's been fun.
Likewise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've all forgotten that thing these days.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. We need more of this for sure. Doors always open for you guys. Please come back. I'd love to have you guys back. Maybe on the release of the album or beginning of the tour or whatever it might be.
You let us know, man. Anytime. You just hit us up,
Cool.
Please.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. I'll see you on the road and see you whenever you guys want to come back. We'll be in touch for sure.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
Love you guys. Thanks.
Have a great one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.